So we're gonna talk about Everton first. Um, Everton. I'll just give the context. They were handed a 10-point deduction, which is absolutely brutal in the Premier League. That's 3 wins and a draw. Pretty much spells immediate relegation for Everton because they're not going to make it out of it. They've barely escaped relegation past couple years. So with the 10-point deduction, I don't think they're making out of it. It's going to be pretty intense if they do. Specifically, they broke or violated the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Um, uh, Everton also released a statement regarding it, saying they feel disappointed in it. I think a lot of people agree that they were harshly punished, especially when Manchester City have faced 115 charges of violating the same thing compared to Everton's, I think, just one. So we're gonna talk about that. First of all, Everton, punishment fair or not? Before you answer that, I will say apparently, their punishment is being talked about in Parliament today, because it's being considered as so harsh that they're discussing Parliament after an MP called it grossly unfair. So what do you guys think? 10-point deduction for what they did? Was it fair? Was it fair? If you don't know what they did, they were, like I said, they were charged with violating it. Which means they lost. Okay, for the viewers, I'm sorry, I forgot Diego's ball knowledge. The Premier League season has started, Diego. By the way, they exceeded the maximum amount of losses during that period of the past 3 years. So you know, go ahead.
Let's start with Diego first. I'm curious to see what Diego's going to say about this.
Because Diego knows all.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, I think it's definitely for Everton to get punished immediately like that, and then let's be honest, Man City and come on now, we really think Newcastle is being super clean in all this? I don't think so. I think there are a lot more clubs that could use a point deduction. Now, I'm not saying Everton, what they did was, obviously they broke the rules, but from what I understand, they weren't exactly trying to be the most scummy about it. I think from what I understand, they're trying to work with some third party company. I forget exactly what the details were, but they're trying to work with some third party company or something, and the Premier League didn't like that, and that's why they got this deduction. But Everton to be immediately docked like that when you got bigger clubs who could get docked, but because if they do, they get hurt, and then they're gonna get that FA will get a backlash. They're not gonna do that, and it's just the double standards here are not okay. And we've seen double standards like this happen time and time again, and it just keeps happening. The bigger clubs are favorites. We all know it. We all see it.
Big Six bias, baby. It's real.
A little bit from once in a while. It is real, not just in refereeing decisions though. I mean, just in general with financial decisions and.
Hey, I'll take that. Before it was flat out criticized by you two, so I'll take it. You guys said it's a little real. Well, Diego did, but I'll take that.
I would say big club favoritism, like Barcelona. They got. You remember when they transfer window and then they lost all their strikers, and then the Liga literally let them sign Martin Braithwaite to sign a backup, and people were saying what the hell? You can they just let them do that, just because Barcelona wouldn't be without a striker, and then no one wanted to go see their games or whatever. That's just no other club's getting that treatment. So
sure.
I'm just saying there's double standards here, and smaller clubs feel it. Everton just felt it right now.
Okay, Andres.
Oh, harsh, just because it's Everton and they can only do so much. To be fair, they actually weren't doing too bad. They were mid-table. They beat West Ham. They had some good showings. Now they're in 19th. I mean, it's doable. They can still get out of the relegation zone. They're only 1 point behind Luton Town, and they're shit. So, and then it's doable, but results have to go their way. But I can see them getting out of it. They don't deserve to be relegated after how they started this season. Even though in past seasons, I've definitely said they should get out of here and just rebuild. But I think they can come back from it. I think it's going to be a story to watch out for. I mean, throughout the season progresses to see if they're able to come back from it. But yeah, I feel like it's hard just because of Man City's past, and then I also agree Newcastle is kind of sus. But Man City's pass, I feel like it's harsh. And then immediately after the first investigation, it was straight 10-point deduction. Especially harsh on the players because they have nothing to do with it either. I thought it should have been like a fine or something to the club or like a transfer ban or something like that, So something financially that wouldn't affect the club itself, as in like players and overall league table standing. But yeah, so I feel like it's harsh, but it is what it is, and hopefully Everton can come back from it because I feel like the players will be motivated to for the fans and all that jazz. So I can see it happening. I wouldn't be shocked. So yeah, that's my take on that part.
I think okay. Well, I was more at trying to ask the question if it's fair or unfair. Just looking at Everton, I didn't really want to look at City or Newcastle or anything yet. But like just purely looking at Everton, I think it's still fair. I think when you're relating it to City and all them, I'm not. I don't want to say it. Obviously, I think there is bias and there will be bias in this, but for the big six. But I don't think we should relate it to City just yet in terms of punishment because we don't know. We don't even know City was punished. I think we should just relate it because they were punished. Um, I don't think it's fair to bias the big six or at least City yet, just because like although I do think they should already be punished because Everton already was, they just haven't, and so I don't think it's fair to be like, oh well, 10 years is unfair because look at City because we just don't know. I mean, City could get handed like a fucking backslap. We just don't know. So I don't think it's fair to compare those two yet. Although I do think City deserve to be punished already. But yeah, 10 points for Everton. For maximum losses, right? You lose a little more than allowed by the Premier League. Yes, I get it. Unfortunate. I think their losses amounted to 124.5 million. Your loss per season, or in that period of like the last 3 years, could be 105 million. So they barely went over. Um, Everton apparently contends that they simply accounted for certain payments differently and dispute the interpretation of some of the accounting practices. So there's just a lot of miscommunication. It's interesting, but 10 points is 100% harsh. I mean, you're essentially throwing their season in the bin.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a small club.
Hey, don't disrespect Sean Dyche. Come on now.
I mean, disrespect Sean Dyche.
Any other team, if it was any other team, they'd be
any
done.
other team. Oh yeah,
any other team. Yeah. So I definitely think it's pretty unfair. I think this is how I interpreted it, and we won't know. We'll only know if this is true or not as time goes on. I think they're kind of using it as an example. I think that a lot of fans are saying, "Oh, you're never going to punish City. You're never going to punish these teams for, whatever, for cheating essentially." And they're kind of using Everton instead of just using City. I think they're using Everton as like yeah, well, we can do this shit.
Well, it's easier
So
to do for Everton than for City.
Well, yeah, I know, but like they're saying like we can do this shit, so don't doubt us and wait till we do City. But at the same time, it would be very Premier League to tell City like, hey, 12-point deduction. Like some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna relate to Tottenham real quick before we expand it to anyone else, because there are, I mean, because of this whole thing, because everyone's getting investigated. Every team's being looked at now, under the microscope. Tottenham being one of them, facing serious allegations of breaching transfer rules during Jermaine Defoe's move to Portsmouth in 2008 because they dealt with an unlicensed agent while agreeing to sell Defoe to Portsmouth for 7.5 million. So, like, at this point, I think the Premier League are just like grasping at straws. They're just trying to get everything and trying to reassert the Premier League's dominance, like the FA's dominance over the clubs as a whole, saying they're more, and I think it's just power struggle, in my opinion.
I think how dare they do that in 2008? We're looking at that's English outrageous. That's outrageous. I can't believe Tottenham did that in 2008. Absolutely embarrassing. I mean, come on now. Do better. even though agents now are like players' dads and stuff. I don't think they have licenses, but whatever.
Well, no, I mean to be an agent, you have to be licensed. Like the dads are licensed, or they wouldn't be displaying it on every news headline they can. But yeah, I don't know more of this. I know Tottenham are unhappy with Everton's claim that their refusal to pay 80 million for Richarlison caused the Toffees to breach the Premier League spending rules. Which I don't know how true that is, but it is true that if Tottenham were to pay that up front, Everton would not be in this scenario right now. They wouldn't have those losses.
Moral of the story, it's always Tottenham's fault, right?
It's always Tottenham.
So it's
always
Tottenham's
Tottenham's
fault.
fault.
It's always Tottenham's fault. It's always Tottenham's fault.
So, looking at the Everton got 10 points, City's 115 breaches of the same violations, same rules. What's their punishment to you guys? What would you give them?
Championship. They got to go to the championship. Simple as that. If they're really that good, they can do it in Stoke. Cold, rainy day in Stoke. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm joking. Probably honestly a transfer ban. I'd be happy with that. Just
What?
because
Are
transfer
you
ban.
shitting me?
Not a transfer ban for a
Everton
season.
gets 10 years and you're happy with a transfer ban?
10 points, you mean? Not 10 years.
Sorry, 10 points. Everton gets 10
Nah,
points and you're happy with a transfer ban?
I'm happy with the transfer ban purely because even if they get doctored 10 points, they'll somehow still come like top 2. And it's just bound to happen.
It doesn't. Okay, I'm just gonna give my answer here then.
Give it.
It's got to be like a 25 or 30 point deduction.
God damn.
Because then actually,
whoa.
it's,
What the
Yo,
Guys,
relax. Calm down a little.
Nah, now
Guys.
you're making my thing
No,
sound
no,
realistic now. 20 to...
it's 115 violations. Everton had 1. Oh, and they got 10 points docked for it.
Okay, hold on. Let's do
City
the math.
have 115 violations.
Hold on. If you dock 25 points for them right now, they'll finish. They're at bottom of the Premier League.
Exactly. I'm looking at it from how the Premier League would look at it. The Premier League should be punishing them, right? That is punishment. That is immediate punishment. I know, exactly. And I think if they hold true to what they did with Everton, that's what they're going to do. A transfer ban. Chelsea violated some rules a few years ago. Remember, a few years ago, and
Yep.
when Thomas Tuchel came in, they had a transfer ban for it. That wasn't for anything nearly as bad as 115 violations.
Well, how about we combine our ideas and we'll say transfer ban and dock 25 points. Bam. And we'll see how many fans actually go to the stadium after that.
It's cool with
I'm
me.
just saying.
It's cool with
I'm
me.
down. I'm fine with that. That's cool.
Diego?
I feel like, you know what? Actually send him to the championship. I firmly believe that. Just send him to the championship and see what's up.
I mean,
Can Holland
think-
do it in a cold, rainy night in Stoke? And if he can, then he's amazing. But if he can't, then he's not.
But you can't
that?
do that until the end of the season, though. No, like you can't just be like now,
no.
like they're immediately going to go down to the championship, or even if you say it now, like then there's nothing to play for. That just kind of ruins the integrity of the sporting event itself.
And it's fine. I'm fine with that.
Diego, your
Doesn't affect me.
your idea of punishment.
I mean, like, okay, the biggest punishment I can think of that a big team received and like it went through was Juventus getting relegated in like 2000
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and that was like for straight up fraud.
Right. That they committed again, by the way. That they did
They committed
again.
again, but that this time they only got like what 10-point deduction or whatever.
Yeah, it was just I think 8 points or something. Yeah.
So, yeah, here's the thing. I don't think they're going to get relegated. City? Nah, they're not going to get relegated. Premier League's losing too much money. If they do that. With that being said, I think I could see maybe a transfer ban for like a season because we saw Chelsea have that. We've seen multiple teams go through that. But I don't think they're going to get
I
relegated.
it's nowhere near the same thing though in the violation. If you're violating it 115 times, I can't stress that number enough, guys.
I agree.
115 times.
Yeah.
There has to be an equal punishment. There can't just be like we're still making money, so we're just gonna give you a transfer ban. No, like there has to be an equal punishment here. And I'm asking in a fair society, if the punishment equals the violation, what would you give it? And if you're telling me you're giving him a transfer ban, then that's pretty upsetting.
Well, I mean,
society?
I agree with Diego. It's because they make them so much money too at the end of the day, and no one wants to see Holland playing in the relegation battle or anything.
Okay,
And
the
it's not fair, but it's probably most likely they'll just give him like a little slap on the wrist and be like, "Don't do it again."
What I'm asking you guys is, what would you give them in a fair society? Not what do you think the Premier League's going to give them? What would
I give
you
them a
give
transfer
them?
ban, like a 2-year transfer ban or something like that, and then
A 2-year transfer ban and like 15
I
points
still don't think
deducted.
that's okay. That's a little bit better. Transfer ban. If you just transfer ban, I mean, they haven't made that many transfers in the past couple of years, and when they do, there's just big names. If you take away those, like, let's think Jack Grealish, Doku, Gvardiol, Holland. Before Holland, let's say, like, I mean, after, yeah, okay, all those all those players. If you get rid of them and you put them in the championship, I mean, they have still one of the better academies in the country. Like, they're gonna be fine
Yeah.
with just a transfer ban. It's not gonna hurt them that much. It's gonna be like, if I'm Pep, I'm like, ah, shit. Oh well, here's my 18-year-old Rico Lewis that we got for, like, here's my other 17,
Still gonna
16-year-olds
take
in the
time.
academy. No, of course, but like, you can just implement them sooner, give them more playing time. Like, I think a transfer ban would be such a slap on the wrist, and I think that's one of those things that I think there's gonna be that there'll be protests for.
I'll still stand by my thing. Transfer ban championship, and I'll be happy with that.
All right, fair dues. I mean, like, what happened with Juve is once they go to the championship, like, once they're like end of the season is confirmed, then everyone just leaves. I mean, everyone just leaves, and then so
No,
like
you hit it.
it's not that big of a deal. Like, Holland would go, De Bruyne would go, everyone would go except the young guys. Every single person, and like City when Juventus got punished, Del Piero stayed. He decided to stay with them and to help them get back up to Serie A. Is there anyone on City that would stay like Del Piero would?
De Bruyne would stay.
You think so? I don't think so.
30, 31, 32? Yeah,
I don't think so.
I can see Ederson staying just because
I
don't know where to
I
go.
personally don't see a single player on there being like, you know what, I'm loyal to City so much.
Really?
Same with supporters.
Disagree.
Same with supporters. I don't see a single player in the same way that Del Piero loved the old lady in Juve. I don't see.
I think you're underestimating some of those players. I think De Bruyne would stay. Not Bernardo Silva.
This is my thing with De Bruyne. I mean, okay, I'm not hating on De Bruyne. If he wants to stay, like, by all means, go ahead and stay. I love that as a City fan. I just think you're, what, 31, 32? You don't got much time left. I'm fucking leaving, dog.
You don't
Like,
have much time.
every team in the world wants me. I'm fucking leaving, dude. I got my pick of suitors. I'm going.
I guess.
But that's me looking at if I was playing for City as De Bruyne. I don't know. It depends on who you are. Depends on who you are. Del Piero had a love for Juve that's pretty unmatched throughout the world, if for any club. There's not many players these days who would stay with their club, like a big club because of relegation. Okay, like a big club getting relegated like that for no reason, like because of without being deserved. If you're like on a relegation team, you know what you know you're signing up to. You kind of have to stay. You can't ever take it if you don't stay. Yeah, me, Andres, and the bunk bed.
Yeah, where the hell did he just getting a tissue, getting a tissue.
Slid out and slid back in.
I'm a little sick.
Yeah, Diego's always a little sick.
In the head.
I got him.
Damn. In the head. All right.
Got him.
In the head.
That was Everton. That was the Premier League. That was our Premier League content mostly for the day.
Come on, you irons on with that. Come on.
All right.